Doctors, is your practice pulling you under? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and sponsored by Chiro Health USA. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Perusich, and I have my guest star on today, Dr. Kelly Fredricks. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So here's what I want to talk about today. I thought you'd just be perfect for this. I want to talk about creating a practice that matches our lifestyle and doesn't make us think that, oh my gosh, there are people with spines out there, we got to be in the practice 24/7. That you actually can create a hugely successful practice, which you have, around that idea. So just a little point of introduction on Dr. Kelly. She is not only one of our amazing clients, but she's also one of our even more amazing coaches at CATS Consultants. And Dr. Kelly has just this incredible practice. It's all cash. It's pediatric and family based, and she's just shooting the lights out. Like honestly, any chiropractor should right now. If you're not, you know who to call. But seriously, she's figured out how to make this work and balance practice life with home life of being a mom. So I thought this was a perfect topic for us to discuss today.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be on here because this is a really, I'm very passionate about having this conversation because I run into so many females that either A, they're not practicing anymore, or B, they're just so burnt out and they're not spending enough time with the kids. They're not spending time with their spouses, and they just feel stuck. And I just feel so grateful that I found you guys early enough in my career that you really helped pave the way for me to find that balance. But it's so doable. It is so doable. You just have
It is doable.
You just have to have some boundaries.
You do. And even though I'm not a mom, I'm a dad mom, a mom dad. So it, in the middle of practice, I found myself as a single father because my wife passed away. So I had to balance the same thing. And you and I have very similar practices. Mine was pediatric and family based and sports based. And I found myself having to constantly adjust my schedule for basketball games or soccer tournaments or show choir events or golf tournaments. And, when you have kids that like your daughter, when you have kids that are involved in everything, you have to you got to make the sacrifice somewhere. And I didn't want to miss anything that my daughter was involved in.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. And my staff knows that too. And my practice members know that too. And they, of course, they want us to do the same things that they're doing too. They want us to be out with our families. They don't want us working our tails off so our nervous systems are unbalanced, and when you really just set that culture in your office of I am mom first, business owner, and doctor next, they will understand. And as soon as my staff says, Dr. Kelly's going on vacation next week, everyone says, great, good, she deserves it. And that's how it should be. You deserve to go on vacation.
Exactly. So first off, we're here to tell you, you can have the practice that you want to have. You can have the success that you want to have and find the balance for family, being a mom, being a single parent, whatever it might be. It's doable. So that's the good news. So we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the myths behind it that make people think this isn't possible. So talking about creating a lifestyle-based practice. We'll be right back.
Affordable care shouldn't mean undervaluing yourself, but most chiropractors are still undercharging, especially when it comes to insurance allowances and cash patients with limited coverage. Chiro Health USA helps chiropractors charge appropriately, get paid well when insurance is available, and still serve patients with no or limited benefits, all through a compliant discount medical plan. The result? Doctors stop undercharging, raise fees, and increase income by about 20% without sacrificing care. That's not a discount strategy, it's a business strategy. Learn more at chirohealthusa.com.
Okay, everybody, we are back. We're talking to our guest star, Dr. Kelly. She's a incredibly successful female chiropractor, obviously female, and we're so proud of her. And we're talking about creating we call it a lifestyle-based practice that is bent around your family and the lifestyle that you want to have, not the other way around. And so before the break, I said, I want to talk about some of the myths that drag us the other direction in this profession. And one is that as long as there's people out there, as long as I need to build my practice, which I think we all feel like we need to all the time, as long as I need to have that need to build my practice, I have to be open all the time. I need to be open 12 hours Monday through Friday. I need to be open 9.5 hours on Sunday, and I need to be open 6 hours on I meant Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday. But you don't have to do it that way. In fact, my schedule changed with every sports season. It was never the same. And we just trained our patients to get used to it. And Kelly, I know you have a similar scenario. And how do
Yeah.
you balance that?
We so it really depends on the type of patient that you're seeing, right? So we see families. Families are not out the door at 8 o'clock in the morning. Usually we don't have a very busy morning, but once 10 o'clock hits, you better believe the moms are coming in with the strollers. We also
Yep.
don't have a lot of people coming after 6 o'clock. Some of it comes with taking the time to sit down with your schedule and realizing what are your hot times. Also, I'm not going to be here late waiting for people to come when that's not helpful for my family and that's not helpful for
Right.
them.
Exactly.
So you set the hours. How many times have I been told over the years, chiropractors are closed on Tuesdays? That's just what we do. Well, guess what? It's not helpful for me to be closed on a Tuesday because I don't want to work on a Friday. So I don't work Fridays, but you better believe that I work Tuesdays and we fill the schedule because that's when I'm here. And Tuesdays are different than Mondays. It tends to be maybe a little bit of an older crowd on Tuesdays, but we call it Ladies' Day. That's when we have all of our ladies come in. And then
I
our
love it.
families come in on Mondays and Wednesdays. Each schedule or each shift kind of takes on its own personality. I want to be a 4-day of work, mom. And that gives me that extra day of the
Yeah.
week to schedule appointments for myself, for my child, get life done. So that way
Right.
we stay ahead of things.
Okay. You just mentioned something. We have to schedule appointments for ourselves, for our family,
Yes.
for our kids. And so this is, I think, where a lot of doctors kind of trip themselves up. They don't use this. Well, it's a fairly new tool. I think it was just invented here just very recently. It's called a calendar. And obviously, I'm being facetious. The calendar is as old as Greece, I think, but you have to think ahead. And so if my daughter had an orthodontist appointment or something, and I had to go to school, pick her up, bring her to the orthodontist, sit there while they crank the braces down, take her back to school, we just would have to plan in advance for that. So how far in advance do you make a doctor's appointment? Well, typically pretty far
Yep.
for a specialist like an orthodontist or something. And so I would just make sure it was on the calendar, but then I immediately would tell my front desk staff, hey, I've got this appointment, clear that day. You've got 8 weeks until it happens. And we would backfill patients around it. So we
Yep.
never lost patient visits. It just changed when I was in the clinic.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Well, and also you have to have those breaks in your schedule. So I know that I'm usually not in the office on Fridays. So in
Right.
my schedule, those are the days that I schedule my massages. That's when
Yep.
Stella goes to the dentist. That's when I go to the dentist, and if I can't go on a Friday, then I know I have Tuesday morning before 10 a.m. That's when I get my medical appointments done, but I am the same as you. Like my life is planned out 6 months in advance. The
Yeah.
office is planned out 6 months in advance. And my staff wants it to be that way too, because they're moms as well. So they
Yeah.
need to know how they can schedule their lives. So it just all works out. You have to be organized and you have to keep a tight calendar.
Yeah, and you have to plan ahead. And so
Yeah.
you mentioned something a little bit ago about taking vacations, and I could hear the universe go, "Oh, vacations."
Uh,
Because chiropractors forget to take vacations. And, we suggest that our doctors in Cats Consultants, we suggest that you take 4 weeks a year. And I know some of you just passed out, but every quarter you should take a vacation. You should take a week off from the clinic. And there's a way to do it so you don't panic. There's a way to do it so you don't lose patient visits. And we teach doctors how to do that. But if you don't recharge, then the practice really begins to suck you under. So how do you make this work? Well, it's what you just said. It's planning and being organized and making sure that before the beginning of the year. So I used to tell Marissa, here's my vacation schedule for next year. And I would give it to her the week before Thanksgiving. And so she'd go into next year and she'd block those 4 weeks out on my patient schedule so that patients couldn't be scheduled during those times. And my staff knew it. And it worked for us. And it only worked because we planned ahead for it.
Yeah, exactly. And my staff knows every year spring break. Whenever the schedule falls for the schools, we go on vacation every year for spring break. This year I'm taking the week of the 4th of July off, which
Yep.
is what you always did too.
Yep.
And then probably more than likely I'm going to be off between Christmas and New Year's. So,
Yep.
but it is in ChiroTouch already. So
Perfect.
we're scheduling around it.
Yeah, perfect. And I took off spring break because why? My daughter was out of school. I took off the week of 4th of July. I took off usually the last week of September, and I took off the week between Christmas and New Year's. And so there's my 4 weeks. Now, did I travel out of town every time? No. Two of those weeks were vacations at home. 2 of those weeks were get out of town and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But you've got to build it in or that practice is going to take you under. So we got to take another break. When we come back, Kelly, I want to talk a little bit more about getting your staff involved
Sure.
and how we train patients about these things too. So we'll be right back.
Patient numbers dipping, staff overwhelmed, and another marketing idea promising the world but delivering nothing. These pressures feel familiar to nearly every chiropractic clinic today. Across the country, chiropractors work hard, yet many find themselves stuck, balancing patient care with the nonstop demands of running a business. That's where the real strain begins. Most clinics face the same set of hurdles: inconsistent new patient flow, operational bottlenecks, and the constant challenge of staying visible in an overcrowded digital space. National reports show that over 60% of clinics struggle with scheduling efficiency alone, and even more lack a clear marketing strategy that reliably converts. But the good news? These challenges aren't roadblocks, they're signals. With the right procedures, smarter outreach, and guidance built specifically for chiropractic practices, clinics can turn daily stress into sustainable growth. Stronger clinics start with smarter strategies. Grow your practice with confidence. Book your strategy session with CATS Consultants.
Okay, welcome back to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast. And I want to thank Chiro Health USA for being one of our sponsors. You guys are awesome. We're talking about how to build a lifestyle-based practice so that your practice isn't dragging you under, but you're creating a practice that's well-managed, well-organized, so that it's still uber successful. And really one of those things that's absolutely you can't live without in this process is your staff, and getting your staff really involved in that whole process of making it lifestyle-based.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be communicating, and it all goes back to the planning, right? So every Monday we have our staff meeting. We are talking ahead in the schedule. Okay, what are the days that either I'm going to be out at a volleyball game, or we got a volleyball tournament, or I'm going to be out of the office. And, so we already have those blocks set up in the system. But then also I'm communicating with them kind of as it's coming up to the point of, okay, how is the schedule looking? Do I need to add something the week before so that way I can see people before I leave? And then do I have to add something when I come back so I can see people when I come back? So for example, I'm getting ready to leave next Thursday, the 12th. So this week I am loading up on new patients because I know I'm not going to be able to do report of findings while I'm away. So I can see my new patients this week, have all my report of findings done next week. So that way, when I'm back from vacation, we hit the ground running. And that takes a lot of communication with the front desk, with my office manager, going through, the schedule, saying, okay, we've got holes here. We've got holes here.
Yep.
I'm going to come in an hour early because I need to add a new patient here or report findings here. It's constant communication, constant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's constant communication, and it's constantly reviewing the schedule with your staff and making sure that those times when you need to change, you need to be out of the office, whatever it might be, are built into the schedule, and that constant communication with staff. Then the other component, I think personally, is that you have to train your patients that, hey, from time to time, for us, it was from sports season to sports season, and I know it kind of is for you too, that our schedule is going to change. So just be patient with us, just be flexible with us. And I think because we attracted the patients into our practices that matched our lifestyle, because our patients had kids, they had families, and their kids were involved in things. They totally understood.
They do. Yes.
Never had any pushback.
Yeah. Well, and also in that style of practice, we have to be understanding of their lives too, right? So
Absolutely.
how many times are they rolling in stressed out? Oh my gosh, we got all these activities,
Yeah.
and we're helping them to schedule their chiropractic appointments around their busy life as well. So they completely understand. And we're all working on this together, right? It takes a tribe. It takes a
Yes,
tribe.
absolutely.
It
It's a
takes
great way to put it.
keep our patients healthy. We all work together. And,
The-
and that's how the communication is in our office. They're so appreciative that sometimes we're flexible with them if they're running 5 minutes behind, or they need to change a diaper, or the kid needs to go to the bathroom, like that's just the culture that we have built here. And it's taken a long time to build that, but we're there and it's just so amazing. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful place.
And maybe we should call it the tribal based practice. I kind of like that. The
I do
tribal
too.
practice.
I do too.
Yeah. Because
Yes.
that makes total sense. And it really is management by tribe.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Kelly, thank you for sharing your thoughts on this subject today. And I just want to give a big shout out to all the female chiropractors in this profession. You all are an absolute blessing and have helped raise the bar for this profession. I can't thank you all enough. So, on behalf of all of us here at CATS Consultants, Dr. Kelly, thanks for being here. Thanks to
for having
Chiro
me.
Health USA for being one of our great sponsors. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.